Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. What's Juno doing over here? What you doing? What you doing, sweetie? Huh? You gonna come join us on this one? Huh? Gonna come join us on this one? Huh? What's my girl doing? There she comes. All right. There she is. Come say hello to everybody. It's hot today, huh? Yes, it is. It's hot today. We got the air conditioner people coming to fix our air conditioner. Stop working. Not stop working, but stop blowing cold air. And it's not the filter people. It's an old air conditioner they got in our unit. Yes, right. All right, people. All right, sweetie. Let's go ahead and knock this one out real quick. It's getting hot. Grandpa getting hot. Love you, kiddo. All right. But anyway, let's get into these. These are my buck knives. From new to old. Or old to new. That's what I should say. From old to new. This is my buck knife collection. Like I said, we're going to get into some old style knives. And this is the one I want to start off with because I used to carry these back in the day. As you can see right here, this is one I used to carry along with this one. Part of these scars are from this one too. And this is the one I had in the 70s. And I think this one these two came from like maybe the late 80s or early 90s. Somewhere around in there. But anyway, let's get into these. First, let's weigh them out. Let's weigh them out so we get the scale out the way. .4 ounces. This is the one from the 70s. I'll take it back. That's not the one from the 70s. This is the one from the 70s. So let's do this one first. I'm sorry, people. 7.6 ounces. That's the one from the 70s. This one is, I think, might be one of the ones I bought when I started getting into really collecting knives. I want to say it's the 90s, but I'm not exactly sure on that, people. I'll show you guys the blade tangs and you can tell me. 7.4 ounces. Same thing with this one. I think this one's from the 90s also. Either that or late 80s or early 90s, somewhere around in there. 7.1 ounces. That's the one with finger grooves. And this one right here is one that I carried the most. And it came from the early 80s. I was in the military when I bought this one. 7.3 ounces. 7.3 ounces. So what's the difference between the newer finger groove one? 7.1, so it's a little bit heavier than the newer one. 7.3. Now these are the modern ones I've had, and I bought these within probably the last 10 years, I think it was. And I don't know exactly when I bought them, but I know it's like within the last 10 years. Because when I saw the modern ones come out with the thumb studs and stuff. These are like the first ones that came out with the thumb studs. And I saw this one too. And this one comes with a sheath. And it's like the cheapest one that you can get. 3.2 ounces. I think all of them have 428C steel. I may not be right on that though. I know on the older ones, I think they might have used 440C during different periods for different models. I don't know all the particulars on all of them. This one's 3.0 ounces. Both of these two have like a polymer handle. And this one has, I think it's G10 or micarta. I want to say it's G10. 3.2 ounces. All right, blade lengths. My oldest one, 3 3/4. 3 3/4, so it meets the requirement. Remember, the requirement is 3 3/4 at 4.5 inches. 3 3/4. This one's a shy under 3 3/4. Three 3/4 in this one. The one that I carried the most. touch over 3 3/4. Newer one I never carried. A little bit under 3 3/4. These are all 110 models. Ooh, that one's short. 3.5 inches. A little bit over 3.5. It's like 3 point. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5/8. So that one should really even be out here. Okay. But we'll leave it out anyway. This one the same size as that one? Yep, exact same size. 3 5/8. So these two don't really qualify to be out here. So on the modern ones, they made them a little bit, the 110s a little bit shorter than on these modern ones with the thumb studs. I thought they would all be the same size, but they're not. I noticed that the thumb studs are in different places too. Interesting. I think these are all USA made. I think these are even made in USA too. Yep, USA, USA, USA. So they're all made in the United States. Let's get on to blade thicknesses. The oldest one, 3 millimeters thick. 3 millimeters thick. So they weren't even that thick, but they have really heavy handles though, because of the brass handles. 3 millimeters thick. Compared to a lot of the modern knives, that's kind of thin, kind of a thin blade stock for such a heavy duty type knife. 3 millimeters thick. The one I use the most, 3 millimeters thick. See what these newer ones are. They might be thinner. That's just 3 millimeters. 3 millimeters thick. 2.99, 3 millimeters, same thing. 2.95, still 3 millimeters, close enough. Okay, so we can move all this stuff out the way. Let's have a little discussion. Okay, the reason why this looks like this, because in 1976, I think it was, or 77, might have been 77, when I was a teenager on my first motorcycle, my first street bike, which was a GS Suzuki 554, with black with gold pinstripes. I absolutely loved that bike. And I worked all summer because my pops wouldn't help me get one. He didn't want me to have a motorcycle because my grandpa lost a finger on his Harley. And so I had to save, I had to get a job, and I saved every penny that I earned just about for an entire summer of working at that job. And I worked at the job actually for 2 years, but it took me took me about, it was actually longer than the summer. It was like about 6 months I saved at working at the job. It was this market in my neighborhood called Tiki Market, and it's owned by Al Lu. And Al Lu was like one of my pops' friends, and that was my first job when I was 16 years old. Boxing groceries and stocking shelves and things like that in the grocery store. It was our neighborhood grocery store. And I worked there, and for the entire summer, or 6 months, I pretty much saved every penny I got. And then, and how much did we get paid an hour then? It was like $1.74 an hour. $1.74 an hour. So I get out of school and go work at the grocery store. And then in the summertime, I was working like full time at the grocery store. And then by the end of the summer, I was able to buy a motorcycle. My first motorcycle was like 17 something, almost $1,800, brand new, not used, brand new. And I bought a local Suzuki Kawasaki dealership, and I forget the name of the dealership, but I was so proud of that bike. I was so proud of that bike. And in the first 3 months I had totaled it out. I got in an accident, and that's where a lot of these road rash scars come from, because I used to always carry a buck knife. It was this one that was carrying it at first. And this one's got some scars on it. I tried to polish them out, but it has some scars on it because I didn't carry it after that. And it was a brand new knife pretty much when I had the accident. So, you know, the knife still looks good, but if you look closely on the bolsters and stuff, you can see a little bit of some nicks and scars on it. But I've tried to polish them out. I should have left them in originally, but I was trying to make the knife look new again. But anyway, that was the knife I used to carry until I went into the Army. And I used to always carry it in the sheath. I still continued to use it. And then when I went in the Army, I just, you know, stayed at home and became a collector. But when I went in the Army, I bought a brand new knife, and it was this one. I think that I joined the military in 1979. I think I got this one in like 1980 or something like that. And this one got messed up when I came home. And I came home on a military leave because I had a hernia when I was in the Army. And I went home on 30 days leave. And on my 30 days leave, I hooked up with my buddies that rode motorcycles and stuff because there's a group of us that rode motorcycles together in high school. And we went on a 4th of July run down Highway 1 from San Francisco down to Santa Cruz and stayed at Seals Point. And then from there, we went to go visit my cousins in Los Angeles because they all rode motorcycles too. And hung around with them and rode around with them. And that's where I had my accident. I had an accident on North Hollywood Freeway in San Francisco. I went to Cadillac Kaiser Hospital. And it was funny because on the freeway, I think it was the 405 or North Hollywood Freeway. I'm not exactly sure what number of the freeway it was. But when I went down, a person had clipped the front end of my bike. And all I was wearing was shorts and a t-shirt and tennis shoes without socks. This is before helmet laws. The person, I guess they didn't see me or something, but they clipped the front end of my bike, and I went over the handlebars. I saw my wrist break all up and everything like that. I stayed totally conscious during the whole accident. Flipped over the handlebars, landed on the freeway, and was bouncing around on the freeway, and the motorcycle was following behind me, and the person just kept on going. They didn't even stop. So it was a hit and run. And a group of essays or vatos and a lowrider, really cool looking, like a 1963 Chevy Impala lowrider that was all tricked out, stopped behind me, and they started stopping traffic because nobody was stopping. That's how Los Angeles is. People don't give a shit. Nobody was stopping. And so they stopped the traffic, and they helped me into my car, and helped me into their car, and took me to Cadillac Kaiser Hospital and got my motorcycle and had my motorcycle taken off the freeway and stored at the gas station that one of the people worked at. And they were like all skinhead vatos, gangbangers and stuff like that, hardcore looking Mexican dudes. And they were like super cool. They got me in the back of the car and asked me if I was in pain. I said, yeah, man, I'm hurting and stuff like that. Because I was trying to ride my bike off the freeway, and I couldn't because I'd broken eight bones. And so they were trying to help me and stuff, got my bike off the freeway, got me in the back of the car, asked me if I was in pain. I said, yeah. And he said, well, here, hit this. And hand me a big old joint and started smoking weed on the way to the hospital. And I got to the hospital, and then they helped me notify my family and cousins that live in Los Angeles. And everybody came there, and next day I went home, went to my cousin's family's home, all wrapped up looking like a mummy. And it's kind of funny because I was home on medical leave. And so when I went back to Germany, I was stationed in Germany at the time. When I went back to Germany, 8th Engineers, I was with the 12th Engineers, 8th Infantry Division in Dexheim, Germany, at Anderson Barracks. And I was a tank mechanic, combat tank mechanic. And I went back there and stuff like that. And they said, wait a minute, we send you home to get well and you come back looking like a zombie. Because I was like all Frankensteined out and stuff. I was all wrapped up. I had broken my wrist, my hand. I had, broken some ribs and all sorts of stuff. I was all messed up. But and I broke a leg too, and I was all messed up. And so I was on another 30 days leave, but they kept me in Germany this time. and so after I didn't have like compound fractures. I just had like cracked bones and stuff like that. And so I healed pretty quickly. When I was young, I was like 18 or 19 years old, something like that, and I healed really quick or whatever. But that was that was me when I was a kid. I was reckless. But the accident wasn't my fault. That's what sucks about it. Because I should have got paid for that one. I didn't get paid for that one because it wasn't my fault at all. The person swerved into my lane, and I was like, I wasn't splitting lanes or anything. I was just riding in a lane, and they hit me, trying to change lanes or whatever. I don't know what they were doing. They might have been drunk or something. I don't know. I have no idea what they were doing. But that was my first really big accident. The accident I had before that was racing my buddy Tavo through William Lamb Park when I was carrying this knife. And after 3 months of owning my bike, and we were racing through the park and stuff like that, and he had a Yamaha XS 650, which is a common bike that they like to make in the choppers nowadays, but and bobbers and things. But we were racing through the park, and his bike was brand new too, and he was my best friend in high school, and went to the other side of the park by the basketball courts, and it was like curvy and stuff like that, and it was like in the wintertime, so leaves that like fall or whatever, so leaves that start to fall on the ground and stuff, and this whole section of the road was like covered in leaves that you had to make like an S turn on, and I was going way too fast, hit the leaves, my bike slid out from under me, hit the curb, flipped a couple times, hit a tree, and I landed on top of the bike. I didn't get hurt that time. I got a little bit of road rash on my behind and scraped up my knife case a little bit and stuff like that, but I didn't really get hurt. And so we picked up. Tavo went and got a truck from his job. He worked at a loading docks. He went and got a truck from his job, and we put the bike in the back of the truck and took it home. And when I got home, we were trying to be all quiet and stuff because I didn't want my pops to wake up and find out what happened, because I thought he'd be mad and pissed and everything and wouldn't let me ride motorcycles anymore or something like that. And so we were trying to hide it, and we were pulling the bike out of the back of the truck, and we lost grip of the bike, and the bike slammed down on the ground. Saw my pop's bedroom light come on, and he looked out the window and he goes, "What was that?" And I said, "Oh, well, we dropped the bike, Pops." He goes, "Why you dropped the bike? You in an accident?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Did you get hurt?" I said, "No, I'm okay." And he said, "Okay, just as long as you're okay." And he went back to bed. And we were like, because I was expecting to be in trouble. But then we took I had insurance on the bike, so we took the bike to the shop, and it was totaled, and I got another bike. And that one lasted. And then I ended up selling my cousin in Los Angeles when I went into the military. And I mean, I sold it to my cousin in Los Angeles after I had the accident in Los Angeles and went back into the military. And then he fixed it up and, whatever, from the part that was wrecked or whatever. It wasn't really super badly damaged. We didn't have like frame damage or anything like that. It was just had like a lot of road rash, and he fixed it up. And I remember the brakes locked up on him one time, and then after that he got rid of that bike. And so then after that he had like a Gold Wing or something like that. He was a big guy, and the bike was really too small for him. And so when I was in the Army, I bought my first Harley Davidson. When I came back stateside, stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, and Killeen, Texas, I bought 1979. It was in 1982, and I bought a bike that was like 3 years old, a 1979 Harley Davidson Roadster. It looked like brand new. Only had like 2,000 something miles on it or something like that. And I had that bike for 7 years. I could go on and on about stories about that bike. I rode that one all the way across halfway across the United States. But anyway, let's get into these. That's the reason why this one's got like battery acid and stuff like that on it. It's from the Sportster, because the Sportster was always breaking down on me. But I love that bike. I was always the generator brushes would go out on it, and I'd have to run and jump on it and kick it in the first gear to get it started. It was a mess, but I love that bike. I absolutely love my first Harley. It was an Ironhead Sportster, 1,000 cc's. It was called the Roadster. It was the first model of the Roadster. All right. So these have Sabre hollow ground blades, Bowie style clip blades. The handles are made out of brass, and I can't remember what kind of wood this is, so I'm not even going to try to say, but I know it's a dark wood, and all you guys are into really collecting these, you guys will know. And I don't know what kind of blade steel this is. I want to say it's 428C. But it says Buck 10 110 USA, then it has 2 dots on each side of the 110. I know that the blade tang markings will tell you how old the knife is and stuff like that if you research the blade tang markings on these. I've had it ever since it was brand new. This is the knife I had when I was in the Army. This was the folder that I carried when I was in the Army. This one right here, this is the old one. This one I had from when I was like 16 or 17 years old. And it says Buck 110 with 1 dot on each side, USA. And this one might be a 440C blade. I remember somebody telling me that the ones that during this period of time they were using 440C. I don't know. I was never that much into them like that, where I was like worried about all the particulars back in those days. This one says Buck 110, and then it has like a symbol, USA. This is one of the newer ones. No, I have. It's new to, one of the newest ones I have. That's a 110 model, which means it might come from either the 90s or maybe even early 2000s. I can't remember when I bought these. And this one's a finger groove. And it says Buck 1. It says Buck. It has like a symbol. And then USA. So you got me on that one. I have no idea. I think one of them might be from the 90s and one might be from the early 2000s. I have sheaths for all these. I have all the boxes still and everything like that. So that the sheaths are like brand new on these two, and the boxes are like brand new and everything. This is the sheath that originally came with this one. I don't know if I still have the sheath for this one. I don't know if I kept it or not. This one right here is a newer model. I bought this like within the last 10 years or something like that. Maybe even the last 5 or 6 years, something like that. When I saw the new modern ones come out with thumb studs, I saw this one. It was like $22 or $23, and so I just decided to try it out. It has polymer handles. What else can I say about it? You can't take them apart. They're riveted together. It's got the same type of blade. You got the Sabre hologram blade, Bowie blade. This one right here has a FRN handles. It's got the newer type of pocket clip, and it's got thumb studs. This was an inexpensive knife too. I think it was like $27. And I actually used this one for a little bit as like a beater knife. And this one I got to collect. I never carried or used this one. And I think it has G10 handle scales. It might be micarta though. And the liner looks like it's like maybe it's got a micarta liner or something like that. Because it looks like a red, like a dark colored red liner. Real thin liner. That's also riveted together now. Riveted together too. These are my most modern buck knives. And like we saw, it's a little bit shorter. It's a little bit shorter than the others. They're closer to 3.5 inches instead of being like closer to 4 inches. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. 3 5/8 exactly. And that's those, people. I'm gonna go ahead and close this one out. We got another video coming up. It'll be number 14. And that one's gonna be on some old knives too. Peace, Stiletto. Stay cool, it's hot outside. Peace.